Okay. All right, so let me share my screen and share. And let me make it bigger. Okay, so we're doing part 3. We're gonna finish up kind of what we were talking about last time. I know that we ran out of time. I guess it meant that it was good stuff. So last time we talked about like triggers and then some like strategies of how to help help get back from the red zone, the green zone, or the blue zone back to the green zone. Wait, did I say that right? Blue zone, yellow zone, red zone, back to the green zone. There you go. I knew I said it a little bit backwards. So today we are going to actually go over self-reflection and then build a toolbox, or try to start thinking about building a toolbox for the house of different things that we know our children like, or even ourselves like, because the biggest thing in zones of regulations is that we're the models. And so that means then that we need to have our stuff ready too, so that we can express our emotions too to them and use that vocabulary with them, and also utilize the different tools as well. So how's it going? Have you started implementing any strategies of the zones of regulations? I know you said you kind of already do that, which is great.
Well, the concept of it is what I do. I don't know the exact jargon terminologies and all of that, but I do know the concept. So I try and incorporate that. We're dealing with everybody, not only the kids, but adults in life.
Yeah. Yeah. And the good thing about this is, you know, like emotions are everywhere. They're not going to go away. And it's good to teach them usually young. I was talking to somebody yesterday and I was telling them, yeah, that my son actually has Asperger's, but since I was so young, I had no idea. My poor baby, he had a lot of emotions and he still does. But because I didn't give him those proper tools when he was younger, he kind of struggles sometimes. But now that he's watching me and his sister are learning a lot of new coping skills, he's been very interested in them. So I'm hoping he catches on even as an adult. But when they're younger, it's nice because you get to see them self-regulate, and then even better as an adult, right? It feels like it's harder to do as an adult. I know, like I said, I'm kind of learning some new strategies of myself, and it's been like, oh, I got to remember. And the funny thing is the kids remind you. So like my daughter's like, Mom, I'm like, oh no, I need to breathe, you know. Let me go take a break in my room and just kind of lay down and rethink myself, you know. So that's a nice thing, that you're the model, but they can also become the model too. You kind of do it as a family, which is a beautiful thing, is when it becomes more generalized within the home. And then of course at school, which is even more beautiful because now we're bridging that gap, right? We're bringing it all together. So I'm super excited to see the things that are going to come with having zones in the home as well as in the school. So let's get started. So we're going to actually go over this piece. So we did the first piece, which is self-awareness. Next is the self-management, which we've kind of went over some of them, but we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the first half. And then Thursday, we'll do the second half. So we're going to do some checking in, how to do that, look at the zones across the day, and then building our sensory toolbox. All right, self-reflection. So I know that we all do self-reflection, especially I know women do it, and sometimes it's positive and sometimes it's negative, right? But what we ultimately want to do is self-reflect, to analyze our own experiences to improve the way you learn or work. So looking at how we did something and then be like, I should have done this better. So like I do a lot of self-reflection, especially with my daughter. last night me and her got an argument. I'm gonna admit that we were arguing. I was like, oh, I should have done better. I should have, controlled my emotions, asked her what was going on. And we did talk about it. And she told me what was going on, and then I understood her more. And then I wouldn't have had to get, that red zone feeling and had to bring myself back down and rethink myself. But now I know for next time what I need to do. I need to ask her first what's going on or what's happening, or just be ears, don't say anything. Sometimes that's even a better thing. Sometimes just listening is what is necessary. But taking that, that experience and then reflecting can be really good, but it can also be very hard, especially when it comes to parenting. I know one time my mom came up to me and was like, can't stop yelling at my grandkids, and you're so mean. I'm like, it was kind of like a slap in your face, right? And like, well, I'm only doing what I know what I can do. So sometimes self-reflection can be hard, but it could also be a really good way to self-improve. And that's what we want the kids to do, is self-reflect, is to look at how did I get this way? What could I have done differently the next time?
A little trick that I've learned is, I call it stepping outside of the circle. So you're not involved with your own emotions and whoever you're dealing with, their problem. So you're looking at it from an objective point of view instead of subjective.
Yes. And that is really good, but sometimes kids don't really see that. So it's nice that you're teaching that now, and it's a good thing to teach it as they're young, like, oh, how that make, mommy feel, or how does that make brother feel? Because most kids it's me, look at how you made me feel. So it's really good.
And that's why you step outside of that circle, so you can look in to see what they're doing. And your own emotions don't get involved in it. I mean, you may feel them, but you don't act on them when you do that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I like that a lot. The author used that, like, and then maybe even like a good visual would be like putting a hula hoop, and like, okay, now how is that looking on with everybody else outside the hula hoop that you're standing in, right? So more of a visual, because I know some kiddos are visual learners. So I like that a lot. But so the second part to it says it's a valuable skill that can help learners and professionals gain experience, confidence, and self-awareness. So ultimately it helps us, in the future, because like you said, looking at everybody else's emotions, how it's affecting me, how's that going to look when we're trying to get a job, and our emotion, like, it's not professional to be throwing a fit or to be angry all the time, or it's your fault, not my fault when the customer comes up. But sometimes, it is the customer's fault, but we can't throw a burrito at them. So it's just really teaching them those skills to self-regulate, then self-reflect, and then building that confidence that maybe I was in the right, but it's okay because, I am able to control myself. So that's the exciting part, is getting them to be that adult. Scary, exciting. All right, so the other piece I wanted to put to it is, how do we teach this, or how is the process? So a 3-step process to improving with self-reflection is: 1, reflect on your experience. So I'll give my example last night with my daughter. Okay, we were arguing because she likes to say, I want to spend time with you, but then she's on the phone, right? I'm sure you all know that experience, right? And I'm talking to her, like, because she just started a job yesterday. It was she started McDonald's. So wow. I'm super excited for her. So I want to know everything, right? I'm like, how'd it go? Were the people nice? And she's just like, I'm like, really? You complain about, like, oh, so it kind of got that red zone fuming in me, like, I'm spending time with you, I've been gone all day, and I just want to know all about that. You've been gone all day. So get really looking at the situation of, okay, where could I have went better with this situation? So think about what you did. So, oh gosh, I was, I think I should not have waited so long to speak up, be like, hey, like put the phone away, or, like put it in your purse, or turn off the headphones. Um, and then the thought how I felt at the time. So I was excited. So maybe a little bit of my excitement could have calmed down a little bit, but I just wanted to spend time with her. And well, she didn't quite give it to me. So I was a little upset, but then that was also a little bit of my fault too, because I was asking for that attention and I should ask for it appropriately. But instead I was just like, done. But the nice thing is we both reflected on it, and we both came up with like, okay, when we want to just talk to ourselves, then we text, hey, we want alone time together, and then we go have alone time together. We do have another child in the house, and I think she was a little bit like, I just wanted to spend time with you, but I'm like, you didn't say anything. So overall, I learned my lesson. So really make sure to ask if my daughter wants another person with us, or she just wants time with just me and her. So the second one is reflect on the learning. So I analyzed it, what I needed to do to change it. Um, and then I used, different strategies where I just kind of like had to breathe, use my toolbox, and let go of the anger. I don't know if you ever seen Veggie Tales. They say to let go of the anger. Um, and then, of course, apply the practice. I know for next time, this is what I'm going to do. Breathing was applying my practice. Talking to her in a nice tone instead of being screaming at her. It's just really, that's how I self-reflected. And it was pretty quick. It wasn't like I sat here and wrote everything down, but I'm like, okay, next time I know, the different things I need to do. And it'll make our relationship stronger, which is the nice thing. So I like this little quote. It says self-reflection is the ability to understand, think, and talk about yourself as a person and as a learner. So I know I'm a person, but I'm also learning, especially with a teenage girl. I already raised a teenage boy, and I thought that was hard enough, but holy moly, having a teenage girl is throwing me for a loop. And I remember my aunts and uncles telling me, Heather, you're going to get 10 times worse behavior. Because I used to give my mom a trouble. And so I'm definitely getting my share and 10 times worse of troubles from my daughter. But I also think our relationship is much stronger using some of these strategies and additional strategies I'm learning as well. So that's the beautiful thing of it, is that I'm not just in here screaming, but I'm trying to understand her and her emotions and her experiences over just like, this is how it's supposed to be. This is how I learned. But no, it's her life that she's experiencing in a whole different world, right? Our society is so different these days. Then I'm trying to understand them, but also showing her that I also have emotions and that I have to also learn to control them too. So I feel like our relationship is growing from that. But
So if you could only learn how to read minds, you'd have that solved, right?
yeah. You let me know if you ever learned that, or you go to a training, you let me know and I'm joining you, okay?
Yeah, because I always get from the older one. Well, you know what's wrong, and no, I haven't the faintest idea. You haven't told me. Well,
Right.
you should know. If you know me, you would know. Well, I'm sorry, but I can't figure it out. You have to help me. So
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what she said too last night. Well, you could tell by what I said. I said, no, you just asked to go to Walmart. You didn't say mom can meet and you only go to Walmart. You said, can we go to Walmart? So I was like, okay, well, I'll invite the other one too. Maybe she needs some stuff too. And then she's like, no, you should have known I'm like, So no, I told her next time you need to be very, very, very specific. Mom, I just want to spend time with you, which it's okay, because she's like, I feel so bad. I said, what? Why is it bad to request alone time with your mom? It's okay. I said, but I can't, like you said, I can't read minds. You got to tell me exactly specifically what you want. So yes, I need to learn that art too. So you let me know when that training happens. All right, I'm going to show a little video. I actually really like this. This is actually the owner, or not the owner, the writer, the author, owner, probably all of it together, of the zones of regulations. And she is talking more about like the COVID-19 because how we were all online, but I still think it has great information on how to put in the zones of regulations in the home. So I wanted to show this so that everybody can see it.
Hey guys, I'm Leah Kuipers. I'm the creator and author of the Zones of Regulation. And today I want to share with you some ideas on how you can make your own Zones of Regulation check-in for you and your family while we are doing distant learning. So step one is watch this video, and you're already doing that. And I've included with this checklist that you can go through each of the steps of how to create your own zones check-in at home. In step two, I want you to think about what you want your zones visual to look like. Maybe you just use the handout that we've included for you. You can color in the 4 zones and use a Post-it to represent each person in your family so that they can be checking in. Maybe you want to use Legos and create a Lego character to represent each person in the family. Maybe you're going to use magazines and put together a collage. Be creative and take a moment to brainstorm what's going to work for you and your family. In step 3, you're going to be gathering your materials to create your check-in. You might think about getting scissors, glue, maybe magazines, Legos, paper clips or clothespins to put your name on, maybe Post-it notes. So I'll give you a moment to do that, and you can press pause and we'll come back together once you've got everything together.
Okay, well, you guys can do that later, but those are some materials.
In step 4, we are going to be doing the creating. When you create your zones check-in, make sure you have each of the 4 color zones shown, as well as a way to represent each person in your family. You might even want to include a pet. I'm going to go get my family and get some help in creating our zones check-in for our family here at our house. So let's go. Next. W.
So I like that they're making it.
What do you think about that,
families, and it's
These are
theirs.
the blue. I think so too. There we have the blue. How are they feeling? Maybe bored or exhausted. Yeah, that makes sense. So here's Libby, the dog. And here's Craig, the crayfish. We're thinking about where is an easy place to have our zones check-in. Maybe it's in your kitchen, maybe your living room, someplace you spend a lot of time so that people can check in throughout the day. Lastly, step 6 is start checking in. Now that we have our zones check-in up, we need to use it. We recommend at least 1 time a day, everyone in the family check in. But the more we check in, the more we can recognize how we're feeling and find our tools to take care of those zones, as well as see how other people in our family are feeling and help each other out. Libby lays around in the blue a lot. Where are you now? Let's check in with our zones this morning. Where are you guys at? How are you feeling? Green zone. I'm all happy. I'm in the green. Daddy, how about you? Daddy's in the blue.
I'm not in the zone this
Tired
morning.
or bored? I hope
I'm-
you and your family stay healthy, and I know you guys are working hard to.
So I really like that how they did it as like a family, and created their little project of how they were going to monitor their self. And then even she asked how dad is, and even the dog. I thought that was super cute because dogs are also have emotions too. Um,
Well, it lets everybody know where you're at, which
yes,
is good. Then everybody can be aware of what's going on with you.
yes, and especially like if I'm like, oh, I'm in the red zone or I'm in the blue zone. Can you please, instead of saying like, leave me alone, they know like, okay, I better stay away from mom. She needs some time to go decompress a little bit. Um, so yes, I like that too. So now I'm like, oh no, I need to create a teenager one, which will be good because a lot of people ask for teenage, and I'm like, oh, I need to really do some research on teenagers stuff. But I'll have to have my girls and I sit down and create something for next time so you guys can see. And I can show you guys some pictures of what we created. We do use like, how we're feeling, but we need to like tap more into the zones. Like, oh, I'm in the red zone, I'm in the blue zone, and then utilizing that type of verbiage. So do you guys just use just emotions, right? Correct. Do you guys just you say how you're feeling?
Um, not really. Usually it's pulling teeth.
Okay.
I have to observe and then I have to pull teeth to get it figured out.
Uh so hopefully
Because
one
I should know.
yeah, you should be reading the minds, remember? uh so hopefully soon they'll express it more. And I'll tell you this much: once they become teenagers, they tend to not want to express anything. They don't want you to know
Mhm.
anything about their life. They just want you leave them alone. I'm like, wait a minute. Yes, I know you're 16 with a job and can drive, but I still want to know what's going on. I still want to know how exciting your day is, or how sad your day is, or how angry you are. I still would like to know something. Give me a little something. um,
So
but
that's why when I pick Sophia up in the afternoon, when she gets in the car, the first thing I ask her is, well, what happened today? How was your day today? And then she'll tell me. Otherwise, she'll sit back there and not say a thing.
um,
And sometimes she has a bad day, and I want to know about it.
yes, and I think the nice thing is I know as women I like to vent, and that's one of my coping skills is just kind of letting it out. And but some of us just like to hold it in. I'm like, no, you got to let it out so it doesn't manifest inside of you and become something deeper. And so my daughter is starting to learn that, which is good because then in the future she'll be able to express all that out. So here's just some examples. I'm actually going to, when I email this video, is also email a link so that if you wanted to use this, you can actually use it at home. So when I email the YouTube video, then this will also be in it as well. If not, you can always go to like this website. It's actually in the website under the COVID-19 area. And then you can either download English and Spanish. They actually have it in Spanish too, which I think is pretty neat. You can even go even more simple where there's just a strip. I like this more for the littles because it's super easy. You just use a strip. You can put little cars or whatever it is you want on top of it. You can even just use a marker where I'm at. Another one is using like cups or something that labels what zone you're in. It says nice, so then they just kind of put their stick inside of it or their name on it and say this is where I'm at. I'm at green, blue, yellow, or red. Another one, this is more of like a folder you have out, and you can put where you feel like you're at, the different zones, and you move your stick around. And then this is actually a reflection sheet because we are talking about reflection. So once they choose what area or what zone they're in, then they can reflect. And I think this is more better as not necessarily like, let's write it all down, but as a family sit down and be like, okay, let's look at how we're feeling. Like I did last night. Oh, my behavior was I got angry. I started yelling, right? I was in the red zone. Um, and then what was my behavior? Was it expected, unexpected? Oh, definitely unexpected. I shouldn't have not raised my tone of voice. I should have not been yelling. So what could I have done to get back to the green zone instead of yelling, which I need to do before I start yelling, correct? So there's a lot of steps to it already, and you can see where like kids need to be walked through it, and eventually it becomes more natural. So for me, okay, so if I wanted to be back in the green zone, I should just took a deep breath, maybe said I needed some time, take some time, and then respond. And then what choices can I make next time? Okay, next time I should just ask my daughter to be more specific of what she wanted. So, a good way, this is just kind of like a model of a self-reflection. So, and I think it's better than sitting there to write, is sit down and just discuss it with your children or grandchildren. And I think verbalizing it as well as being present with it builds that relationship more about the relationship of emotions and reflection. So there is my little gallery. So as she said, you pick a way to express it and then start using it. So the next piece, and I think this is where we ended last time because we ran out of time. There was so much information I wanted to give you guys, is basically building a toolbox for your house, or for wherever that main room is that you want to put the zones up or display the different emotions. Ours is the refrigerator. I always say, oh, we put our artwork on the refrigerator. I've always done that. I've also done an art wall too, so we could always do a wall. I have actually art on my wall right now. But building a toolbox that is best for your child might not be best for my son might be doing something that helps him cope, but it might be different for my daughter. So each person is different, right? Each person is unique, and also each zone has different strategies. That I always use this example. I would say, okay, if you're in the blue zone, you can hug somebody, right? And usually that's comforting, especially when they're sad or even when they're tired. You can rock them and they might go to sleep and take a nap. I said, but you would not hug a child or try to rock them if they're mad, angry, throwing stuff, right? That's just not going to work. I mean, it could if it's a sensory issue, but they would really have to express, like, I need a hug. So just be careful with the different tools. And the good thing about building it at home is that the kids get their input, like, oh, I really like to listen to music. I really like to go for walks when I'm upset. Um, so actually, I think this one is, yep, my internet's slow today. So let's collaborate a little bit. And this one you can actually write on, but I think you have to be logged in for it. But it says, what are some coping skills that you may use to get from the red zone, blue zone, or yellow zone back to the green zone? Kind of doesn't really matter what zone right now, but if you want to say, oh, when I'm in the red zone, I'll actually start. And when I'm in the red zone, I like to be secluded. I like to go take a break and let me lay down in my comfy bed and just let me be for a little bit. Like, let me de-escalate. Do you want to share?
Well, I go outside and I sit in the chair, either the front or the back, doesn't matter, wherever there's nobody at. And I look around the neighborhood, and then I look up at the sky and I see the clouds, and then I'll just kind of look down. That's usually what happens when I start thinking, and that's where the things really come up during, I guess we'd call it a meditation process. And then I go and I pray about it.
Oh, that's a good one. Is praying. And did you say meditation?
Yeah, and just thinking about what's going on and everything, and how that person reacted, how I reacted, uh, and then just thinking about it and going over the whole situation, because you're going to see the situation differently about how you reacted than somebody else would, and they're going to see it differently about themselves how you would see it. So, I mean, well, it wasn't my fault. I mean, that's always the first thing. And then you have to go from there. And yeah, well, I was angry because I felt that this person wronged me, or discounted me, or something, whatever it was. And so I deserve retribution. And once you get past that I stuff, then you can think, well, maybe I shouldn't have been so harsh with that person, or maybe I should have formed my words in a kinder way, or a better way than the way I did, instead of being so gruff. Because I can be very gruff at times, and that's one of my downfalls. I'm still working on that. Been doing that all my life.
That's good. You're working on it. Some people are like, this is how I am, and that's how I'm going to be. So, um, that's good. I just started learning how to do meditation, and I told everybody I thought meditation was like, like
Oh no, that's the stuff you see on TV.
yeah. That my instructor started laughing. I said, she's like, no, it's more than that. I was like, oh, okay. So it's
It's
been nice learning that technique
it's
too.
a thinking and heartfelt uh, process, and once you get that heartfelt into it, that's when the calm starts to come about.
Yes, yes, and I'm learning that. I think we started. Oh gosh, I want to say in like September, October, no, October, probably like September, October, and it has been a learning experience for me, which is a good thing. So I'm
It'll
starting
always
to
be a
learn.
learning experience.
Mm, So, all right, let's see what we have next. So these are just different tools boxes you can have. These are more visual for like littles. Um, but this actually goes with the zones of regulations curriculum, but you can always create your own, because like I said, not everybody is unique in their own way of how they deal with things. Um, so like the blue zone, we have take a break, talk to an adult, ask for a hug, listen to music. Um, be careful what music they listen to is a
Yes.
good thing, because sometimes some of that music is not kind of contributes more to it, I feel. So I always say,
A
what
lot, a
kind of
lot,
music?
a lot of it is trash.
Yes, yes. I'm like, that's what's making you go into your blue zone. Another one is social media. Ah, I have to tell my daughter it's time for a social media uh, detox. And she's like, no. But then when I do the detox with her, she goes from like the blue zone and depressed and all those deep, deep emotions to a whole different person, like green zone. It's like, and she'll even say like, "Wow, I did need a detox from social media." And I'm
Now,
like, "Yes,
and really, it's not even the social media or the music. It's about the device,
mm,
and the device helps people alienate themselves.
yeah, that is
Um,
true." But I
and
also see like,
that they turn very inward,
yes,
and they're hard to deal with. I don't mean uh, discipline. I mean just talk to. They're hard to talk to.
yeah, yes, they don't know how to, right? They don't, because they've been on that device for so long.
Sure, they use that skill of interacting.
Hmm. And then here's the yellow zone is take a break, kind of the same, get a drink, especially when you're hyper, walk, run. And then actually next week, we're going to learn about the inner coach and the inner critic. The red zone is deep breaths. A good one is also tapping. I don't know if you've know about the art of tapping. I actually used this when I was taking a very big test recently, and I was like, well, I'm gonna try. I had a lot of anxiety from it, and so I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it, right? And I did it, and it actually helped me like just kind of refocus myself and let me know if I'm okay. Next week also we're gonna look at the size of the problem. Running is good for when you're angry. I wish that was in my toolbox. I hate running. It probably make me more angry.
I
But
don't even walk.
yeah,
I get in the
walking, I could
car.
probably do a walk. um, take a break, take a nap. Oh, I would love to take a nap every time I was angry. That would be great. Um, but there's different ways to do that. Um, and then where to take a nap would be in my soft bed, right? You want a specific place where nobody bothers you. And then a green zone, of course, is also, you can do things in the green zone too, because is also an emotion, and you want, the kids to know that you can do things in the green zone as well, such as learning, listening, work hard, or these are the expected behaviors, but not necessarily they're going to be in this area all the time. And another way I also explain it to kids is that it's like the ever changing weather, right? Especially in Yuma. Yuma is like the perfect example. 1 minute is freezing cold, like right now, it's probably cold outside. Thank goodness I haven't stepped out yet. But it's probably very cold, but then like afternoon it's hot and we're sweating. There might be some wind in there. So like the weather's always changing, just like our emotions, right? Different situations hit us and our emotions will change from 1 minute to the next. And it's just what we do with those emotions is what
Sure.
makes it okay, expected or not expected, right? So
That's a good analogy.
yeah. Yeah, especially in Yuma because the kids are like the weather. I'm like, well, yes, look at let's see, let's analyze the weather, right? Okay, this morning it's windy and cold, and then we'll go outside later. I'm like, huh, it's hot and sunny. The weather just changed on me.
Mhm.
And then later, I think I think I picked a perfect day. All of a sudden, because of the wind, now it was cloudy, dark, and rainy. And they're like, oh, that's the red zone. I'm like, yes, but soon it'll be sunny with a rainbow. So it's always changing. We are always changing. And they're like, oh, okay. So, yes, it's just like weather. Um, so now what? Another thing I'm gonna also send when I send is the checklist that Miss Capers actually said in there. It's the checklist. It's kind of blurry. It's okay. I'll send it. Won't be blurry in there. It has the different steps of how to set up the checklist or the poster in your home.
Mhm.
And so it says, one, you can pick a video or a book to like show your kiddos about emotions. There's some really funny ones on YouTube that you can really get them laughing. If you're more of like a jokester type family, we're more of like a laughing type family. Or if you want something more serious, you can pick a nice book that's a little bit more serious about emotions. But then read the book or read or watch the video together with your family. Then create that poster like she had her kids create the poster. But you can have your kids create the poster too. And you'll be surprised, like some kids will like really get into it. Um, and they'll create the poster in different ways. And then discuss the emotions, like, especially kids that are older. I like to do paint strips. I go to Home Depot, I get the paint strips, and then we write higher vocabulary. Like a lot of them didn't know what melancholy was, or those much higher developed words. And now they go walking around though, being like, I'm melancholy today, which is a good thing because now they're using different vocabulary than just sad, which is very, tier one, much lower. And then build a toolbox together. Like what can we do? Listen to music, go for a walk, get a hug, or spend time with my grandpa or dad or grandma or mom. So just building that toolbox that is more catered to your family. And then last, practice, practice, practice. That's the fun part is practicing. Because I did this with an older group, And it was funny because they would walk in and be like, oh my God, you guys are getting me to the yellow zone. Can we please get me out of the yellow zone? And they're like, shh. But then I had a kid walking around be like, I'm in the red zone. Leave me alone. I'm in the red zone. You guys are making me red zone when I'm having to do all this work by myself. One, it makes me think, one, it triggers me, not triggers me, it alerts me to know that, okay, this kid is having a hard time, but also that, oh, they're actually finally getting it. So at first it becomes very like thrown out there, and then it
Mhm.
starts kind of regulating out. And now I'm like, well, what kind of zone are you in now? And they're like, oh yeah, we have to use those colors again, right? I was like, yes. So just remember to practice, 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 because
Well, practice makes permanent.
yes, yes, I need to put that on the bottom, huh? Practice makes
Yeah.
permanent. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make perfect, it makes permanent.
Yes, I like that one a lot. I need to use that because that a lot of kids want to be because of that same like perfect or 100%, but we're not meant and built to be 100% or perfect. We're meant to be us. And sometimes that's not perfect and it's okay. We are perfect within ourselves. So I like that a lot. So I think that was it. Yay, we made it and we made it
Oh,
on time. So next week, I want to dive more into the thinking strategy. So we're going to kind of go over the size of the problem. We kind of
mhm.
look at the size and then analyze it and then decide where to go from there. And then the size of the reaction, as well as inner coach versus inner critic, and then superflex versus rock brain. And it's kind of like you said, the meditation, which is a beautiful thing. It's kind of building that into, but it has a more, I guess, official name to it, or brand name to it.
Mhm.
But that's what we have for next week. Do you have any questions or concerns?
No, it's this is good for me because a lot of these things I've learned or know about, but to see them, and I see them in a kind of a different way with the zones,
Mhm.
uh, and it just refreshes and reminds me about basics, which are very important because if you lose your basics, you've lost everything. So,
Yes. Yeah. And that me too. Like when I started learning about this, I'm like, wait, I kind of already know this, but there's just not. I think overall, the bigger picture is using the same verbiage between school and home, because sometimes as like a teacher we'll be like, oh, you're sad, or oh, you're this, or whatever it is, and they're like, no, but at home they say it differently. So there's like a disconnect. But when we once we figure out, oh, this is how they help them at home, then it becomes where almost like we're united, and then the child is able to process more within the school. I think
well,
that's ultimately what we want, is a
yeah,
whole.
home is the safe zone,
Hmm.
and they can. Oh, there's another zone. Uh, but they can, in the safe zone, they can let it more out. They can misbehave a little more and be a little more negative. And I know with mine at school, they have to kind of hide it a little bit and act as if everything is hunky dory when it's not. So it's at home that we see it all.
Yes, well, sometimes it's flipped. Sometimes they're really good at home, because that was my classroom. Was
Uh,
they're really good at home, or they're the same, either or place. So it just depends. Um, but majority, yes, you are right. That safe zone, or the safe place, is where I can be who I am and also let out everything that needs to be let out. So hopefully we can get many more parents to come. I'm so happy that you're here, and hopefully we can get the word out more, so then that would become more connected with home and school, which will be a beautiful thing. So
Well, I think that school is just a reflection of home.
Mhm.
And if you're wearing things at home, you'll carry that into school, good or bad.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah. So, you know, it's just, that's why parenting is just so important.
Yes. Well, I thank you so much for coming today, waking up so early with me. And I hope to see you on Thursday. But I'll let you get on your way to your probably busy day of
Yes,
getting
got a
you.
lot on the menu today.
Yes, me too. So I hope to see you Thursday and have a wonderful day. And I will email you this with also those few links as well if you want to utilize those, the checklist and the zones of regulations, like mini posters, like a mini poster.
Okay, great. And I won't say have a wonderful day. I'll say have a better day.
Ah, thank you. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
Okay, we'll see you. Bye.
Bye.